Devonshire House presents Silent Nights by Olivia Gaines. Chapter 1. Speechless. Joshua Langdon lived a quiet, orderly life, neatly compartmentalized into easily sorted boxes of activities. It was rare, if ever, that he allowed the boxes to mix or commingle. For him, it was easier that way. The confusion and chaos of the world was held at bay by the simple act of opening a box when it was time to play in the sand. Sandbox 1, he maintained with a sharp-tined rake. This box held his work world, a world of the technical writer who wrote the frequently asked questions on websites by providing simple, clear responses to everyday inquiries on how to accomplish the ordinary. When he dug deeper into the box, leaving the imprint of his size 12 feet in the sand, the work included how-to manuals for setting up and operating home media equipment. He found this to be even more mundane since it required the use of pictures. The upside, if one believed there to be such a thing in this scenario, was that he received free products in order to write the manuals. Although he found no joy in having an extra microwave, Blu-ray, or webcam around his house, his family often appreciated receiving the free gifts. The gift of family Joshua also kept in a separate box, a cute one adorned with a neat bow which housed his parents and annoying younger sister. He found his sister irritating as hell since she loved to interfere in his orderly life by popping in for a visit on her bi-weekly run from Charleston to Martinez, Georgia to visit their parents, who lived in a retirement community that had daily happy hour at 6 p.m. and frequent bus trips for senior citizen activities. He didn't want to be here. The colors were entirely too bright. The paintings were entirely too weird, and to make his level of irritation rise, his hearing was fading in and out. At times, he could hear moments of conversations, followed by the buzzing. It was enough to drive any man to the point of shoving knives inside of his ears to dull the pain. It did impress him to watch the artist speak. At the base of each painting, the gallery owner had mounted a thin, metal strip with a digital display which read like a churn, the news crawler at the base of a television screen. As she spoke, the words appeared under the image she described. After 6 of those visual demonstrations, the amusement waned. He meandered his way to the bar, accepting a glass of lukewarm champagne which tasted like flat beer and a mini quiche, warmed in a microwave from a big box store. Shit, with the cost of her paintings, the gallery could have at least hired a caterer, he mumbled, spitting the crumbly quiche into a napkin. People moved about the gallery, a few leaving altogether, and Monica entered into a fierce negotiation with the gallery owner over a painting they both wanted. Bored, he stood, leaning against the wall, holding the glass. His mind was on nothing in particular when he noticed the artist staring at him, trying to make it unnoticeable. She failed to turn her lips away, although he could surmise she'd lowered her voice to speak to what he assumed was a friend. He knew she'd lowered her voice because the friend moved in closer, almost bending to hear the woman speak. Now Joshua was interested because he knew she was talking about him. Him as F-I-N-E, Ellen Diane Amanda said. I don't care if he can't hear, see, or taste. He could get it. Her friend laughed. Lower your voice. Why, he can't hear me, she said, glancing at him again and offering a gentle smile. Joshua nodded his head. I'm not into white men, but that one, I would play with for a while and show him why pink men like dark meat. Seriously, Ellen, what does his race have to do with anything? A good man in this day and age is hard to find. Hell, I'd take one that had his own car, a credit rating over 500, and didn't still live with his mama, Jenny said to her longtime friend. Your problem, Jenny, is you set the bar too low. And your problem is you're too free-spirited, and your bar keeps moving each time you see something interesting. The man is deaf. What are you going to do with a deaf man? The same damn thing I'd do with one that could hear me, have him spank my ass and call me Ellen, she said, stopping to shake hands with a person who had purchased a painting. Thank you. I hope the painting brings you years of joy. Jenny was ready to leave. She'd heard all of this before, and Ellen had horrible taste in men. At times, it seemed as if the woman went to the natural food store and came home with the most pathetic excuse of a man, ready to fix him up and set loose on the world. The last one had owned an animal companion who, as she understood it, was to aid in the man's anxiety. The poor dog was more anxious than its owner and would spontaneously shit in the floor each time it heard a loud noise. Ellen's latest quest in the betterment of mankind was to teach sign language at a local support group. The group was now present in the gallery as she tested out new equipment furnished by the gallery owner, who received a grant to offer accessibility in art. "Here you go again, trying to repair the damaged by using your coochie as if it has magical properties," Jenny scoffed. "Hey, when I finished with Jamal, he no longer needed that little shitty dog," Ellen boasted. "No, when you finished with Jamal, he was the one spontaneously shitting himself. Please, leave that handsome man alone. The dude looks like he has mommy issues, 3 dead bodies in his basement, and a baby mama named Missy Jane," Jenny said, looking directly at Joshua when she spoke. "Nah, not that one, that big cat is still feral. He is hungry all in his eyes, and if he comes over this way, Mama is going to put out a bowl of milk with a tad bit of tuna," she said. "If he walked over here right now, smacked me on the ass, and said I want that, I'd give it to him. Besides, he has big feet, large hands, and look at that thumb. I would do him and restore his faith in women. Oh shit, he's coming this way." Joshua had lip read enough of her comments and decided to act on it, hoping to render her speechless. He'd never dated a black woman, nor did he have a baby mama or any dead bodies in his basement, but it had been a moment since he'd had nasty freaky sex. Diane Amanda more than likely smelled like patchouli oil, homemade candle wax, and wore hemp clothing, but when a man needed a meal, a piece of meat was a piece of meat, or in this case, a can of tuna smothered in warm chocolate milk. He moved with confidence, coming directly at the woman whose eyes were growing larger with each step he took. He stopped in front of Ellen and her friend. He offered both a smile. Lowering his voice, which he had to do often since he had no way of telling how loud he was speaking, Joshua Langdon made his move. "I want that," he said to her. "I can't and refuse to smack you on your ass, since that is really not my style with a woman I'm just meeting, but I agree with your friend. My skin color doesn't have a damn thing to do with the night we will share." He pulled a card from his pocket and passed it to her. Ellen accepted the business card while looking him in the face. "I'm sorry. I thought you were deaf." "Not completely, but it's getting there," he said. "I read your lips. Your body language is what made me pay closer attention." "Okay, I'll bite. What am I supposed to do with this card?" "I've written my address on the back of it," he said. "Try to make it to my house before 10 if you can." "You expect me to just show up at your house for a tete-a-tete?" "A random stranger who showed up at my art show," she said, almost sounding offended. "Pardon me, but you invited me over to come smack your ass, tell you I want that, and I could get it. Now you want to play coy," he told her. "So much for restoring my faith in women. I will tell you and your friend there are still good men, but good men don't play games with little girls. If you wish to climb on this ride, you need to be high with strong thighs." "Well, aren't we arrogant? I have the big feet and the thumb to back it up," he said, giving her a thumbs up. "Again, before 10 if you're coming. Also, I don't eat tuna." The art show was cool. "If you don't show, I understand, and if you do decide to see what I'm working with, my name is Joshua Langdon. Have a good evening, ladies." Habit had made him drive his own car to any event, especially where his family and sister was concerned. He made a point to stop and speak with Monica, letting her know he was heading home and would take a rain check on the cocktail, which in their sibling language meant he'd meet her in the kitchen just before 11:30 for a late-night sip of warm milk. He left the gallery and headed home, not expecting the woman to show up after he called her bluff. As he made his way down Broad Street, took a left on Milledge Road, and drove up to Gardner Street. Joshua pulled around back, parked the Audi in the garage, and entered his home. The lights in the pool were on, and for a brief second, he considered stripping down and taking a swim. While he was loosening his necktie, the phone in his pocket vibrated, which could mean several things: a message, a person on the front stoop, or a phone call. He assumed it to be a phone call from the art gallery woman, calling to decline the offer to come over. Looking down at the phone, to his surprise, she was at the front door ringing the bell. He pressed 2 buttons, one to unlock the front door, the second to tell her to come through the house and towards the kitchen to join him on the patio. Several minutes later, she stood at his side. "I was thinking of stripping down for a swim," he said to her, looking down at the woman. Ellen pulled the cotton dress over her head, undressing to her briefs since she wore no bra. She pulled the loose curls of her hair into a ponytail and walked confidently down the stairs in only her panties. At the side of the pool, she removed the panties and dove in. Her ebony skin glided through the water like a mermaid allowed to finally have her legs to kick versus wave her body. "Okay then," he said, stripping down as well and walking down the stairs to join the woman in the water. He had no idea what the night would bring, but it had been a long time since he'd been excited about anything. A woman with 3 first names who painted colorful versions of psychedelic penises was bound to give him a reason to check himself at the door with each interaction. At least he felt alive. If nothing else, that was a start to what he wasn't sure, but at this point, something had to change, and as his father had once told him, change starts at home and in the heart. He was home. This is where he would start. Silent Nights. By Olivia Gaines. All rights reserved. Available now. On Kindle Unlimited.